So I'm wanting to have an actual real deep conversation with you today. So this conversation is going to be around really being able to hold yourself, because if you find yourself getting frustrated with the people you love most because they're not showing up the way you want them to, they're not being able to provide for your needs the way that you are desperately wanting them to, and thus it's impacting not only you on a physical, energetic, emotional level, but it's also impacting your relationship with them. I want to dive into this because this is something that I dealt with for so long. I would constantly get pissed off at my mom, at my husband, at my dad, and want them to meet my expectations, want them to show up for me in the way that I think that they should. And through that, I would just get frustrated, and I would just put up a block and another one and another one. And then I would just like, fine, forget it, and freak out, versus being able to really sit with myself and what it is that I'm needing, what it is that is feeling so vulnerable or fearful or scared, and learn to hold myself through that. I just got off the phone with a client, and we came to the fact that literally the superpower for you to show up for yourself in any way that you're wanting to, whether that's in your own relationship, whether that's in business, whether that is just like you really personally owning like who you are, comes from the superpower of being able to gather around, hold yourself through the fear, hold yourself through the pain, allow yourself to meet your own needs. Now, for me, that was kind of like a foreign concept for so long. Like, how can I meet my own needs? I'm needing them to show me love. I'm needing them to show me that I'm okay. I'm needing them to show me that I'm accepted. How am I supposed to do that for myself? There's tools for you to be able to do that, and I'll walk you through some of them today. But let me know, like, does this resonate with you? Are you hearing, do you feel like this? Or was I the only one that would just get so freaking frustrated? So I'm going to talk about 3 relationships in my life that may be mirroring some of the things that you are dealing with in your life. First relationship that I'm going to talk about is going to be the relationship with my mom, relationship with my dad, and the relationship with my husband. So if you are in a partnership, you're going to want to listen up. So let's start with my mom. I have been blessed with the most amazing mother. I love my mom dearly. My mom has been able to show me unconditional love and support in multiple areas. Whenever I, didn't even think that somebody could love me through it, my mom was able to show up for me. But there was things that I needed from my mom that she was not able to give me. And because she wasn't able to give that to me, or because she was actually pulling energy from me because she was wanting me to show up for her in a particular way, I became resentful and frustrated with our relationship. So when I'm saying that she had, like, I'm a powerful person, I own that within me. I've always been a powerful person, but my mom had been like kind of feeding off of my power to protect her. And when I was able to see that, I got so frustrated with that dynamic and that relationship. And I wasn't able to get my needs met from her. And it was being like a taking relationship. So when I was able to cut that tie in that way, which was a really difficult conversation to have, but it has actually created so much space and growth within our beautiful like connection that we have together, I was able to like sit with it and go, what is it that I need? And where can I source that from myself? And so this one isn't going to be as deep of a conversation as the one with my dad, because I've had like I said, a really beautiful conversation with or relationship with my mom. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the other one. My dad, there were so many needs that I was constantly trying to get from my dad. So many. And so I was constantly trying to get love, trying to get acceptance, trying to feel that I would always belong, trying to feel that I was always going to be cared for, trying to know that he would never abandon me. So many things that I was constantly attaching on to my dad. Now, a lot of it happened when I was completely unconscious of it. I was a child. I wasn't conscious of that. When it came to the fact of now, and I had to go back and heal this, was because I was seeking those needs outside of myself for a very long time. And because I didn't get them from my dad, then I started to latch on to my husband. And he had to fulfill the needs that I wasn't getting from my dad. So you could see how like the pattern kind of rippled down. So when I was able to realize what it is that I was desperately, like this was like a deep need. Like, have you ever felt like, oh my gosh, I just need this or I'm going to die? Like that feeling within your soul. Have you ever felt that before? You have, like, let me know I'm not alone. This was like this deep need that I desperately needed within my soul. I desperately needed my dad to show me unconditional love, unconditional care, to let me know that he would always be there for me. What I realized when I started to heal myself was that he could never do that for me. He could never 100% step into that space. The only person that could was me. I had to learn how to give myself that love, that care, that unconditional support, that unconditional acceptance. I had to basically literally take him off of the hook because I was always trying to get that from him, and because he was never able to fulfill that need for me, I would get so pissed off and frustrated, and I would be left feeling hurt. So when I took him off of the hook of him having to fulfill those needs for me, and for me to take ownership of my own, is when I was able to heal my relationship with my dad and create a new one. Because I could create a relationship where he wasn't having to fulfill needs for me. I could create a relationship with him where I was able to 100% see him, honor him, be where he's at, and no longer put any expectations on him. Which made our relationship from being very messy and touchy to being very clean. Because I don't have anything, no needs that he has to fulfill for me. And we really just made an agreement that we could talk about anything and we will be able to always hold each other with love. That was huge for me. I would avoid talking to my dad about anything because I was always so scared that he would never love me or accept me or he would leave. So when I could take him off the hook, own my own needs, take care of myself, is when he was able to, we could create this new container within our relationship. Now, he doesn't know what I was expecting of him. He would never be able to fulfill that. That was a deep need within my soul. And so we now have a beautiful relationship where we can communicate, where we can hold each other with love. And I no longer fear him leaving me, or no longer deeply desire him to deeply love me. I know that I'm loved from him. And no matter what happens within our relationship, if anything ever did happen, then I know that there's that love, there's that care, and I know I can always hold myself through it. So when you can meet that need for yourself, you take the other person off the hook, you open up space. When you open up the space, it's like you can see the other end of oh, this is what we can create now. The messiness is gone. Does that make sense? There's no mess in it. When you're trying to fulfill other people's needs, there's that mess. When it's clean and it's just pure communication, pure love, pure relationship, pure connection, you can create whatever you want from that space within the dynamic of that relationship. Of course, it's going to take communication. If you haven't watched that live, go to the live where I talk about some skills and walk you through skills to effectively communicate, because that helped a lot with all of my relationships. But this is like important for you to realize, where am I putting needs onto other people in my life? And where am I getting super frustrated? So then that translated into the relationship with my husband, because he had to pick up the slack for my dad. And then every other sort of pain point that's ever happened to me with any other male in my life, he had to basically pick up the slack for that. There was a whole bunch of needs that literally like, here, take care of this. And I handed it, like, it was literally like I handed him a platter, like, here's my needs, take care of it, figure it out. You need to show up for this. And he's like holding this, trying to juggle it, trying to do the best he can. And it's just like, everything's falling off because he can't do it. So I had to take that tray back, own all those needs, heal the pain points within myself. And then the person that frustrated me the most, which was my partner, because I'm with him every single day and he wasn't able to show up for me in those ways every single day, I was able to see him in a completely different light. The mess was gone with him too. It became clean. And we started to create, again, a new relationship, a new dynamic. And no matter what happens within my marriage now, A, I know that we can talk about it. And B, I know I will survive. Because I know my superpower is I can hold myself through it all. That he is no longer holding any power over me. I can hold the power within myself, and he can hold the power within himself. Just that in general is so dynamic. When you have a clean relationship in that way, it just feels good. Like it feels free. And when you can hold yourself through the pain, through the like, oh my gosh, this need wasn't met as a kid, this need wasn't met as a teenager, this need wasn't met, and I like have that deep desire for it to be met, and you can meet it for yourself, no matter what step you take in the future, no matter what obstacle shows up in your path, you know you can go through it because you've already gone through so much. You know you have the superpower to hold yourself through all of it. You know you have the superpower to hold yourself, to love yourself, to provide yourself with the care and the acceptance and the belonging and the compassion and the safety. And so from that, you are literally free to create whatever you want, not only within your life, but within your relationships. Whenever I feel any sort of like messiness within our relationship, and I'm speaking about my husband right now because the other ones are clean and good, but there's still some messes that come up in our relationship. Whenever I'm feeling into any of those messes, automatically we go to work on them. Automatically. Because through that mess is where there's new space on the other side. So I have an audio for you that will help guide you through this. It's easy for me to talk about it and for you to like, I don't quite know like what she's referring to. The thing with this type of work, it's a feeling, it's an embodiment. It's stuff that you discover when you go into your body. It's not just like, yep, I'll hold myself with love and think about it. You actually have to feel it. And so I have an audio for you that I help guide you into it to see what needs are being put onto other people and what it would feel like for you to get it back. So you can either DM me for that, or you can just type in the comments here, audio, and I'll go into your messenger. But I guarantee, like, if you start to do the work that I'm inviting you into, like even the meditation that I have, you can, if you haven't already done that, grab meditation by just typing in meditation. Doing the meditation will get you into your body. The thing that I do with my clients every single session is, where are you feeling that in your body? what is it needing? And that's how you learn how to 100% show up for yourself in this type of way, is because you can now feel it, you can embody it, you can be with it versus just think about it. There's a difference there. So I'm going to invite you to start taking those steps to come into the body, to start to be aware of where there's needs within you and who are you putting them on to fulfill. And what would your life look like if you took that back and you started to take the power back for you to fulfill those needs yourself? How free would you feel? How powerful would you feel? What could possibly shift in the dynamic of your relationship if you did that? And when I say relationship, it's like with anybody in your life. But if you're putting the needs on them, they're never going to be able to show up for you the way that you need to. That is just 100% fact. So if you take ownership and start to show up for yourself the way that you are deeply desiring, that's where the wholeness is going to come. That's where the empowerment is going to come. That's where you're going to feel like, hell yeah, I can do whatever. I can step in. I can keep going. I can face this obstacle. I can face this, and I can keep moving forward because you know you've got the superpower of being able to always come back into holding you here. So you want that audio for me to help you guide you through it? Just type in audio. Or grab the meditation and start to just, again, you're going to come into your body and start to feel it, so you can type in meditation. I will see you again next week, and I look forward to hearing what you got from this conversation. So go just comment below or just DM me and let me know what you got.